Hey, how you doing? This is RJ. Today, hopefully, I'm going to keep my video a little shorter, hopefully, and I'm going to do a thing which is basically a comicsgate guide to leftist speak. And when I say leftist speak, I mean far leftist speak, like SJWs and the useful idiots for socialists and communists, or people who are actually socialists and communists themselves, people who believe these ideologies. We're talking far leftists, of course. So, I'm going to focus on one thing, and it's a phrase which has it's a phrase or an idea almost that has popped up over the last year. And it's something that I've covered in one of my other videos. I think more than one, but the one that I remember mostly would be the one where I did a reaction to the interview with Sana Amanat. I don't actually know if that's how you pronounce her name, but here's a little secret. I don't care. Anyways. So, I'm going to talk about why and how people can say, I don't want you as a customer, when they're actually supposed to be in a business or running a business or selling things. And at the same time, they're saying, I don't want you as a customer. And I did go over some aspect of that a while ago about why large companies might do it, but I'm going to talk more about individuals in this case. And something happened in the last couple of days which kind of brought this into sharp contrast. You had a tweet that was put out by Kwanzaa. And if you don't know who Kwanzaa is, you probably do. He's a comic creator. He put out a tweet basically saying to people, I don't want comicsgate people as my audience. He calls them comics hate people, which, by the way, gives you some idea of how these far leftist people see us as in the comicsgate community. And he said, I don't want these people as my customers, but there are some parties, and of course he's talking about Richard Myers over in Diversity in Comics. He's saying there are some people who are using these comicsgate people to make themselves money. And I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, duh. Of course he's using the comicsgate people to make money. That's called building a customer base. That's how you do that. He's using us to make money, and we're using him to make a good product for us. It's called capitalism. That's how it works. But there's a real big divide between those two ideas, even in that one tweet, those two ideas of everybody who doesn't agree with me go away, but I'm running a business, and somebody on the other side, like Richard, saying, yeah, I'll take anybody who can read, and you're my customer base. Sure, no problem, I'll sell you something. So where's the big difference, and how in the world can there be that much of a divide between the mindset of two people doing the exact same thing? Well, the divide comes from the fact that basically Kwanzaa and people like him, because this idea was also expressed by Sana Amanat, that if you don't want what we are giving, go away. It's expressed by an idea that everything is political. Everyone, or a lot of people would remember Anita Sarkeesian, who is the person who basically started Gamergate, saying everything is political and you got to point it out. She's also a far leftist ideologue. So they think that everything is political. So why do they think that everything is political? Why? Because they're either socialists, or they are people who believe the talking points of socialists, so they're the useful idiots of socialists. Because socialism, at its very origin, says that every human institution, everything in human society is made up of human institutions, and all those human institutions are political. They come from a political source, and everything, therefore, is political. Political basically comes from the Greek word polos. Polos means city. So political means of the city, of the group of people, of the society. So as a socialist, they believe that everything is political. And therefore, your comics are for them a political thing. They're a political medium. And why people over here on the side of Comicsgate don't want that is because, well, I would say that they're sane, rational people, but they understand that in our society is built by reason and things like logic, which is reasoning about reason. So again, I could say that there are certainly people on the left who are also reasonable, so I don't include them in my far leftist ideologue kind of thing, because there are plenty of people on the left who are reasonable and who understand that reason has built our society and made it into what it is. Because at the basis of reason sets up its own little hierarchy saying politics is here, economics is here. You got other sections as well. You got something like physics, and then you have natural sciences, and they're all separate. They all go back to something that ties them together, but they're all separate. So politics is not economics. So if you're a rational, sane person who understands anything about what our society is built on or understands capitalism, who just understands it innately, you understand that no, politics and economics are two separate things. They're not the same thing. And as I was saying in my other video about Disney being fake entertainment, just the same way that CNN is fake news, we get so upset with this because we say that no, politics is not economics. Our industry, as a separate subsection of economics, it has its own, which is entertainment, it has its own definition. And if you are starting to put the political into it, you are corrupting the very industry. You're corrupting the definition of what it is. And if you are corrupting the definition of what it is, and at the same time putting a political message into it, then you are doing so in a deceptive way, because that's not the actual definition of what entertainment is. So you are trying to propagate an idea, to teach an idea, which is not supposed to be part of this industry, because economics is different from politics. And so in order for you to do that, you have to do it deceptively, according to our definition of what our industry is. And there's one thing that people hate, it's being deceived. And so they're looking at these other people who are putting in these political messages and saying, you're trying to deceive me and you're corrupting the industry at the same time. That's why we're so upset. But if you're on the other side, if you're a far leftist, you would say that, no, everything is political, because their automatic assumption before there's any arguments made, before the first word is spoken, is that socialism is absolutely right. That's their automatic assumption. Socialism is absolutely right. Therefore, everything, every human institution, and comes from the polis, comes from the social aspect of the society, and therefore everything is political, and therefore they can use whatever form of institution, whatever that is out there, like entertainment, and they can put a political message into it. And so they don't think they're being deceptive, because they think that our entertainment is political, because everything is political, and therefore they can put a political message into it. They can propagate these political ideas in our entertainment. They can teach these political ideas in our entertainment, because they assume that everybody knows this, everybody accepts this, and that if they don't accept it, they should accept it, and everything is political. So if you don't either agree with them that everything is political, or you're not open to the idea that everything's political, and when I say open to the idea, I would say what in their minds would be you're either a child or someone who doesn't quite understand any of these things. So in their minds, you would be childish or a moron. And so they can just slip these things in underneath your nose and not have you know about them. But if you reject that idea that everything is political, then they don't want you as part of their audience. Because, of course, you don't accept their base truth. And if you don't accept their base truth, they want you to go away. So this is why people on the far left are saying to customers, go away, we don't want you. And I was saying in the video about Sana Amanat that, she is basically making Marvel a lifestyle brand. She is trying to make the entire marketing strategy of Marvel that we don't want you, go away if you don't accept this very basis of what we are trying to put out there. So this is what they're doing. This is their basic mindset. Now, again, if you look at Diversity in Comics video on this tweet from Kwanzaa, now he has a different idea of why these people might be doing what they're doing. Now, again, I would say, hey, you could still have that idea and have my idea at the same time, because these people are useful idiots. They're accepting the talking points of other people because they're not rational and they don't know how to think rationally. So they're just repeating the talking points and therefore being useful idiots of these socialists and communists at the same time that they're coming up with their own ideas and separate ideas of why they want to do it. But the reason why, again, it would be so hard to understand for us on the comicsgate side why they would do this or how they could do this is because they're killing the very industry they want to keep on using. How can they be so stupid as to kill an industry that they want to keep on using, even if it's in a corrupted way? It doesn't make any sense. Well, it makes sense, of course, if you look at it through socialism, because the very idea of socialism, if you have a socialist government, well, how do they keep these things going when they don't make any money? It's because they start stripping everybody else of money that has money in the society to prop up these industries in order to keep using them. And the useful idiots, the SJWs, have found a very modern way of doing that without even looking at the society level. What they do is they find a giant company like Disney who has a giant pot of money, and so they're going to just leech off of that reserve and leech off of that reserve and keep it going so that they can do destructive things to this industry and put out things that are going to destroy it, while at the same time use it and continue to use it and not make money. So I did do a little bit of a shorter video. Hopefully, I'm going to see if I do shorter videos that if they do any better, because I know 20 minutes is a long time. I shouldn't be talking for 20 minutes. I love to talk about these things, but I shouldn't be talking for 20 minutes. But hopefully, at the very least, for this one thing, the next time you hear somebody say, no, you're not my audience, go away, you might have a little bit of a better understanding, hopefully, why they would say such things and where they're coming from, what their mindset is, in order to be able to say these things and at the same time know that they're destroying an industry, and in their minds think to themselves that they're not being contradictory. Anyway, hopefully I've given you something new to think about. That's why I do these videos, give you something new to think about so that we can all hopefully use these ideas to build a better industry, to get rid of these people who are destroying it and build a better industry. And if I did give you something new to think about, well, hit like, hit subscribe, share the video. That would be great. Any and all of those would be great. I love it when people share my videos. It seems to make them do a lot better when in getting these ideas out there. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.